Blessings. Welcome to another series. Welcome to another live of True Talks with Charlie. Today we are talking with Rebecca Chapman about planting new seeds, the season of me. Sorry, I'm also trying to get my computer to upload something, so we're gonna be doing double things. But yes. So my name is Charlie, and I am an intuitive soul guide and energy channeler. And so today we are here with True Talks with Charlie, and True Talks with Charlie is basically a live experience where I invite guests on to talk about their lives, to talk about their truths. We are all about people living their most authentic lives. Sorry, I live in New York. Hey, Becca. Hey. Let me invite you. So yes, as I was saying, so True Talks with Charlie is basically exploratory conversations where I just stay curious and I ask people questions about their lives and about their journey and whatever topic they decide. I create questions to just stay curious. And I believe that each of us is a reflection of what's possible for our lives and what we can choose. And so that's why I like to have these talks, since I'm all about what's possible. So greetings, blessings. So hey, Becca. I know I was already talking when you came on. I'm just like,
It's totally fine. I love it. Hi, Queen. How are you?
yeah, I am blessed. I've been on it today. I thought I was gonna be too tired, but then I went for a walk
Okay,
and it
nice.
changed everything. I was like, oh. So yeah, I'm like working on my YouTube, so
I love it.
recording those videos. But yeah, so we can get started. So I feel like it's been a while since I did a True Talks. Even when I was doing my intro, I was like, what is happening? I did not. Apparently, I probably should have practiced.
It's
But anywho, listen, they gonna get what they gonna get, and
okay.
apparently today is that I'm giving what I got. But
And
it's
that's
gonna
it.
be great. I got
I love
y'all. I got y'all. So first of all, before we get started, I already kind of introduced myself at the beginning. I'm Charlie, and I usually let people introduce themselves when they're here because for me that's part of the idea that I know for myself I can be a different version of myself every day, and so I get to decide that, and so you get to decide how you want to introduce yourself today.
um, I was not expecting to be introduced like introducing. I was waiting for your questions because the
Oh, you
icebreaker.
want it? You oh no, that's gonna come later. But you can just say my name is Rebecca if you
Yeah.
want. It doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah, I know. Nothing specific yet, but I'm Rebecca. Nice to meet you. I live in South
Yeah.
Korea, and this is a good time, I guess, for me to talk to Queen Charlie. I haven't spoken to you, seen you in so long. You've been missing my life. I need more of you. So this is
Yeah.
absolutely a great filler.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I definitely should have warned you that people introduce themselves. You know what's so interesting because you never know what people need. You know what I mean when it comes to preparing for this and
Yeah,
what information is helpful for them. So moving forward, right? This is an awareness time for me to be like, all right, so I'm gonna just mention that next time because sometimes I
yeah.
do, but people don't need it. So then I stop, and now it's like, you know. But this is great. Okay, this is why I love these things because I'm also growing and learning as I move along.
Aren't
Okay,
we all?
huh?
Aren't we all?
Right. So yeah, so thank you, Becca, for being here. So like Becca said, she's in Korea, which is like 9 a.m. ish around there. So I am very grateful. One of the things I like to do during this time too is give people their flowers. So when I started Charlie's Truth in July, I mean Truth Talks, not Charlie's Truth, Truth Talks with Charlie in July. I originally just invited people that I knew, right? That not I didn't necessarily have to know you in person, but like I've been watching for a while on YouTube, and it was just something about their energy that I really love. Um, and so a lot of that is how this started. It was just me being intrigued by people and their journeys and me wanting to invite them on and having a talk. I feel like I do really good with collaboration. So, right, that's also me using my own gifts and knowing what my needs are. And so kind of like bridging those two things together.
Right.
Um, so the reason, one of the things so I know Rebecca from law school, just FYI, right? So I know Rebecca from law school in Cali. I went to law school in San Diego, and I met Becca there. Becca was always very unique to me because she was just literally doing her own thing. Like she was doing her own thing the whole time. And I always respected that. Like she had her own voice. She knew exactly, like she stood in her own ground, right? And that's also probably that Virgo energy, that Virgo sun energy, where you just have this groundedness about you.
Yeah.
And it was just always something like I just respected. Like you held your values together. Becca was like the only, like I feel like you was the only one out the crew who didn't drink, and it was just like, but she still had a good time every time. And I'm not saying that you got to drink to have a good time, but you know sometimes it could be like, you know, where when other people are around people who drink when they don't drink, but it never felt like that. It was always like a good time. And I think all of those things just for me says a lot about a person's discipline and their love of self and just like, you know, what they value. And I just
Right.
always respected that. And just even you moving to Korea and just like starting your whole thing, because when you got there at first, I thought it was temporary, and it seems like it took a life of its own. So I'm really excited to see like what's it going on? Like how did we
Yeah.
get here? Because it's definitely been years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 6 years.
Right. Yes, it's been, and it was cool. It sounded like it was a temporary thing, y'all. I promise. And
Yeah.
now it's just like it's a lifestyle, and not only is it a lifestyle, a business have been created from it, which we're going to talk all about. But just so much has happened for you. Doors have opened up, and I think a lot of that just goes to you living in your own truth and following your own rhythm. And that's why like this idea of planting new seeds, right? The season of me is just like exciting for me, and I'm looking forward to what you're going to share with us. Like Becca said, we haven't really spoken, so I'm learning this with y'all, which is what I love. I like to be like shocked too. Um, so yeah, so that was my thank you to you, and just like giving you your flowers. Like I've always seen something like unique and different about you that I respected. You just being you. Shit,
That's all we can be.
you would think so. Okay, so now we are up to the icebreaker question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so you might not be ready for this either, but what is the most used emoji on your phone right now?
Oh.
And what vibes does it give you?
It's the melting face one.
Ooh.
It's the melting face one. That is one of my favorites
Oh,
now.
what's that vibe for you?
It's just ugh.
Okay. I never used the melting face, so I don't have that yet. I don't
Oh,
have a
you haven't
connection. No.
a thing hasn't happened for you yet?
No, I see it. I just
Oh,
haven't utilized it. I haven't figured out where it fits.
oh, the ones look like the exhaustion of me being tired, like from
Mm.
getting off late, 10 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock at night. I'm just like,
Oh, I see it now too. The melting. I see like the image in my
yeah,
mind's eye. Like okay. Oh, heard. I get it.
yeah,
Yes. So I like to do questions like that because I just feel like it's lighthearted, it's like fun, and it's just like random. That shit.
it
Like,
is.
all right, girl. So, but beyond that, are we ready for the main topic? All
Yes,
right.
let's.
So Becca's theme is planting new seeds, the season of me. So before we even get started, if you can just even tell us what it means for you as far as like planting new seeds. And you can also go into the season of me at the same time, but it's up to you.
So basically, planting new seeds means that I want to be slightly more selfish. I need to turn more inward. I've been so focused on the outward aspect of things, people pleasing, making sure that everyone around me, they're good, but I always put myself last, my health last, my
Mm.
last, my food intake last. Like everything is always last for me. And I feel as though like, I don't know, maybe it was turning 33, my Jesus year, whatever, coming to God moment. But everything just surrounded. I was just like, I'm doing too much for everyone else. So I need to uproot all of the old of just constantly just giving without being received or poured back into me.
Mm,
Reciprocity is always key, but I feel like it's just been highlighted even more so. So planting new seeds, being uprooting the old and planting just more of me, making sure that I come first, because if I can't do or make me happy, if I'm not good within myself, I really can't make sure that everyone else is good either.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you wait? You said that maybe it was just coming to 33. Because I was wondering, like, do you know what kind of sparked that? Like, was there anything that like kind of paused to be like, wait, I'm exhausted or I'm drained? Like, what the?
It was work. I am now a full-time kindergarten teacher again. And I did not think that I would be back into this element. And then on top of that, I have my clients. So I go from working in a building to my own clients after that. So it's like constant. It's from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to sometimes 9:30, 10, 10:30 at night. And I'm just going, and there's no rest for me. And so during all that time too, I'm also making sure that friends on your time zone, my family on your
Mm,
time, they're good. But I'm just like, where's Rebecca? Where's Rebecca in all of this? I don't see
yeah.
anything of Rebecca. Like, yeah, sure, I'm working. Great. I'm saving. Amazing. Blessed. But I'm still not being fulfilled with doing all of that.
Mm,
Yeah. And being fulfilled in the easiest sense of, let me take a nap. Let
mm,
me go eat some ice cream. Let me go find something that makes me happy. Or, yeah, because I remember something you said in law school. You were like, how are you going to celebrate even the little tiny moments, like midterms, passing?
yeah.
We're like, okay, what are we going to do? Okay, now we got finals. So what are we going to do? You better
Yeah,
celebrate, right? So
yeah.
that's something that constantly resonates with
Mm,
CHARLIIE is in my head.
thank
And then
you.
on top of that, yeah.
Yes. Cause I feel like cause I feel like the reason why I got like that, cause I realized before that, like my military life in the head,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember a lot. It's like I was just going, 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 go oriented, but I wasn't actually living. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
actually embracing the moments. I wasn't actually enjoying, you know what I mean? Like even if I graduated, I'll be like, what's next? Not let's celebrate, let's sit here, let's breathe. No,
Right.
what's next? And it's like, ooh, now that I look back, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
every and everything else made sense about my attitude because I was just like, I can see why all this is going on. But just to back up a bit, can we talk about law school? Okay,
Uh,
like so, like I said, Becca and I met in law school. Like it would be like 8, 9 years ago because like if we take into account how much law school takes.
yeah.
Um, so why law school at the
Um,
time?
at the time, law school was just something that seemed like it was easy, honestly. Yeah, it was just
Sorry.
something, you and I were good with dialogue. We're good with also our attitudes, but our attitudes being in check when it comes to fighting cases or,
Mm,
discerning that come in front of us. Reading, it was easy. It wasn't hard, but it was just something that I
yeah.
wanted to do. And I was just like, I'm here. Also, the force or influence of my parents, that was also something. Growing up with an Asian mother, being a tiger mom, and she's like, doctor, lawyer, whatever, engineer, something. And I'm just like, yeah, that's what I have to follow. Like, that's my path.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm. I feel that. Oh, look at Elizabeth.
I know. Hi, Elizabeth.
So, do you know what did you have an initial goal for law school? Like when you
um,
went in?
yeah, to be an attorney for criminals, like in terms of the criminal aspect of things, but more so juveniles, working with
Oh,
juveniles.
yeah, yeah.
Something I always did, like volunteering with juveniles. And so that was something, going to the detention halls and sitting with them, speaking with them, writing with them. So it's always going back and forth between attorney and teacher. So I always felt
Okay.
right in it, but yeah.
Mm. And so what shifted? Like what helped you make your final choice to be like, all right, I'm gonna head to did you know right away, like when you was moving to Korea that you were not gonna do law? Okay. All
Mm-mm.
right. So this is like legit, just letting life happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of
Mhm.
responding to life and letting it unfold for you.
And so it was literally summer of 2016, and you were in New York by then. You were in
Okay.
New
Yeah.
York.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I am tired. I am
Yeah.
tired. I don't want to study. I don't want to see another book. I don't want to do this. And I just got online and I was like, okay, I've always told myself, like, let's go live in Korea as an adult, experience it through a new lens. So go see my family that's there. I haven't seen them since I was about 12, 13. And then, take that back, 2009. So then it's been about 7 years. So then I'm just like, let's let's see what comes of this. So I'm online and I'm like, jobs in Korea that foreigners can get easily. And ESL teachers was the thing. I didn't know that
Mm-hmm.
was. I was just like, okay, like let's see. Got an interview the next day for a private
Yeah.
school. And I was like, okay, took the interview and they're like, yeah, you got the job. And I was like, okay. They're like, yeah, your flight and stuff like that will be sent to you by next week and we'll see you in Korea. And I was like, all right.
Wait. So also they flew you out.
They flew me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, Moody Pamela said, I hate to leave this conversation. I live in South Korea as well. Well, we thank you for tuning in for even a second. I appreciate you. OMG. Okay. So wow. Okay. I didn't know any of this.
Yeah,
All right. So once you got there and you started working, because
not
I
flew
remember
out
you started your flew down. Because I remember
there.
you started your own sorry, I'm trying to read the comment too.
I can
Okay.
tell.
Yeah. They was like, this is great, but they gotta go to work because it's Monday in
We
Korea.
see that
People, it's
okay, so
already Monday.
some schools have work today, but some schools don't because it is a red day, and red days are usually holidays. So I have today,
Oh,
but some schools don't, or some works.
mm. That is okay. We get that around here sometimes too, where I'm like, all right,
Right,
I don't know what kind of holiday this is. Is it federal? Is it not? I don't know what's going on. So
right.
I get that. But wow, okay. So once you got to Korea, did you like what happened that you was just like, all right, this is it? Like, did the law thing just like never came back up for you?
It
Well, at least
always,
not yet.
yeah, no, it always did because my parents kept forcing it. It was just like, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when you come back, law's right there. You went to school, you have this, and I'm just like, yeah, I know, but I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. And it was after my first year after working at that school that a parent actually came to me. She asked me, she said, Miss Rebecca, are you interested in or do tutoring on the side? And I said, no, I never thought about it or anything of that sort. And she was just like, my daughter takes well with your teaching style.
Ooh.
She's had a really hard time with certain teachers. And so when she found you, you guys fit very well. If and when you come back, would you please reach out to me and so we can discuss something? And I was just like, yeah, sure. And this was in August of 2017. This is when I was going to travel for 2 months. I was like, I don't want to see a kid. I don't want to do anything. I need to
No.
explore. So I went. I went throughout Southeast Asia, went to the States because there was a wedding for a friend of mine, went to her wedding, and then I came back to Korea. And so I reached out to that
The
mom,
parent. Mm-hmm.
and she's just like, oh my God, yes, thank you for reaching out to me. I'm still very interested. Like, can we have a conversation? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we decided to meet at at a shopping mall because inside the shopping mall, there's like a VIP section where it's like they, the bougie goes, basically. I never even knew that existed. This is like a whole entire new life of me. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking that I'm meeting with just her. I get inside to this cafe, hidden cafe, and there's a table with five other parents there. And She's like, I kind of spoke you up and everyone here is interested. And I said, all right, let's get it.
Oh, I'm about to cry like it happened to me. All right, go
And that's how I started working for myself. And that was it. That was it.
ahead.
That first year, I ended up having 22 clients for myself. That first year, that was it. And that was me by myself. And I'm just like, okay. And it was
Mm,
also because I'm able to speak Korean. I teach in English, so I go back and forth in our sessions that I have with my clients. Not only did I start working with children, but I also gained adult clients, and I still have adult clients. I help them with their business English. I have neurosurgeons, I have accountants, I have managers. I work with so many different backgrounds that I'm still learning, and I love being fulfilled in that way. And so
mm-hmm.
my brain is still being that sponge. I'm happy. I can't
Yeah,
complain.
yeah. OMG. It sounds amazing. And too, like, but I feel like this is like what I say often when you just follow your own inner compass, right? Like, everybody can have ideas of what they want for you, whatever. But not to say whatever, I appreciate them. But also, we also know a lot of that comes from other places. You know what I mean? Usually, like, yes, they have the best intentions, don't get me wrong, but it's also grounded in other energies.
Mhm.
And when we trust our own self, our inner compass, then who knows what's gonna unfold? Who knows what's possible? Because like you didn't know one that there was like ESL teachers like going overseas and there was jobs available, and given the fact that you actually speak the language, was that your first language?
Yes.
Yeah, and that you
But
kept it up. You were still like practicing, still utilizing it, still speaking it. And I say
yes.
that because not everyone, continues using their dialogue, right? So you can say that sometimes it's not as, I don't know. I have a lot of friends that speak Spanish, right? And we call it Spanglish because when they speak in Spanish, they also speak in English all the time. So I'm like, all right, but I catch you. So that's why I
Mm.
say it like that. I know that some people, I don't know if lose it is the word, but you get
No,
what I'm
that is
saying.
my brother. After we moved to the States, I was adamant on not losing my Korean skills at all. But my brother and my sister, well, more so my brother, he lost about 95, 96% of his Korean skills.
Okay.
And so when I have conversations with him today, I have to use elementary vocabulary to speak with him.
Mm,
When he's speaking to our mother, it's very difficult for him to express how he feels in Korean.
okay.
Out and since he's learning it, like relearning it, he's learning it like the traditional Korean. And I
Mm.
have to, what are you saying? That's not how I say. But he's just like, this is what the book says. And I'm like, yeah, you're learning old Korean. So
You know what? We gotta get it how we live it. Okay, I've been using Duolingo for Spanish for like. They just gave me a message. It's my third year, and I'm like, and I'm still on the beginning stages. Okay, because I'm not practicing enough with an actual person. I'm that kind of person. I need to practice,
yeah.
and I need hands-on experience. I don't. That's just how I am. So, but it's fun. It's fun until then. So I know one thing you mentioned is that you ended up traveling for like 2 months. So let's also talk about your traveling. So Becca, from what I know, always traveled. Like,
Trying to travel more.
yes, yes, yes.
This
And I know that once COVID
honestly,
happened, I feel like everybody's lives got like, and right,
yeah,
we're still trying to get back into our rhythm, whatever rhythm that's going to be now.
yeah.
But yes, if you can talk about like how many countries you traveled to, like what interests you in traveling so much.
So to answer that question, that specifically just being born in Korea.
Hmm.
That was the start of it all. Being coming from a different mindset, I don't have the lens of always wanting to be in America or in my dad's country. And because that's the case, like I was born in Korea, my first language is Korean. So I come from an international brain
Yeah.
mindset, like different. And so traveling the world has always been something. My dad being in the military, like you, he went around the world.
Hmm.
He was a linguist, so he spoke, but he doesn't speak now. But while he was he was learning, and he spoke about 13 languages because of his job. And that always intrigued me. I was just like, I can do that. I want to do that. But
Yeah.
and so because of him, and his travels. I was like, like, let's do it. But I wanted to surpass him, which ended up happening. So I have been to currently 34 countries. I would have had about 50 had COVID not
We
changed
know,
all of
girl.
it. But yeah, I'm also with going back to like the theme, the season of me, I'm going back into that mode of traveling solo, not waiting for anyone. I'm not
Yeah.
asking to come join me. I will, you'll just see me gone. And that's just it. Like I'm getting back into that habit as well, which is very, very important
Yeah.
to me. Yeah.
Do you have like do you feel like you have a favorite place or a place that you feel like opened your heart? Because like I have several places I like, right? But there was like one place that like just opened my heart that I'm like, oh, I can't believe I liked it that much.
Where?
I would say Paris, which shocks me.
Paris is one of my favorites too. A lot of
Yeah,
people,
it shocked me.
a lot of people just hate Paris.
I don't know. I seen that Eiffel Tower light up the first night, and when I say I went back every night after, like I just was like, I need to see this. There was just something about that light that just like shook me and just told me like so much is possible. I don't know why, but that's what came to me. Like everything is possible, and I was like, that's simple. Okay.
I love, yeah, but for me, I would have to say the Philippines.
Ooh,
It's just freeing. They have what
nice.
we call Filipino time, and it's literally, they don't do everything on time, which is also something that I had to get out of because being raised in a military household, if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're on time. And it's always that mentality. And, going to appointments, you have to be on time. And in the Philippines, they're just like, no, we're just going to go with the flow.
I need to go there. I haven't been. I need to go there.
It's really great. And I remember I was like, we have to be on the boat at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm trying to island hop. Like, let's do this. And they were like, yeah, you just have to wait a little bit. Just chill out. It's okay. And I was just like, oh, this is a thing. This is really a thing. So the next morning, they told us, oh, yeah, meet up here at 9 o'clock. I was like, I'm showing up at 9:30. You guys will still be here. And they were still there. And I was just like, whew, okay. Like, my nerves were.
Imagine I would have been on time that one time.
I would have been pissed. but
But it worked.
but it worked. And I was just like, okay. And it taught me so much more about myself, that trip, because it was my last solo trip that I took before lockdown happened.
Oh.
Yeah, and I loved it. Spent Christmas there, New Year's there, and I was just like, yeah, this is nice because it was just so free. And the water, I love being by the water. Yeah. And that's all
Mm.
I was stuck with coral in my foot. And so I had to go to the hospital to get the piece of rock out as well. And I didn't tell anyone until like days later. And so my family, they're all calling and messaging me. They're just like, what if something happened to you and all this? And I was just like, I can handle myself. Like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like one of those things where I was just like, yeah.
I get and segue into that. Now that you brought up family and like all of that, like segue into that. How have your family responded to like? First of all, do you have you decided you're staying in Korea, like, or you just like this is where I'm at right now, and we gonna figure it out when that changes?
That right
Okay.
there. That
And so
exactly right.
like, how has your family been about that? Like, is it still like pressure about law or anything like that? Like, are they still talking about that or?
They gave up. They gave up.
Hey, I like when people give up
I'm so happy they gave up
about
too.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm so happy that they did because the constant nagging of you did XYZ, your accomplishments, and I'm just like, okay, it's just a piece of paper at the end of the day. Like, I'm thankful that I have it. It opened new doors for me, but that wasn't being fulfilled in the happiness, like my odometer in that gate, like it wasn't moving at all. And so I had to actually back away from my parents just for a little while because they're nagging and their constant, you did all of this, and why Korea? Why Korea? Why Korea? And I'm just like, so one, mom, you're Korean, and so why are you just so adamant on not having me here? Like, why can't I just be in my own element in this regard? Two, dad, you lived your life. Let me live my life. You're still
Mm,
doing, let me do this. And I had to tell my mom, I was just like, mom, you need to stop projecting your fears onto me because you never did this. You never ventured out. The only venturing out you did was just come to the United States and then you became very comfortable. Like, that's great. But she was so scared for me to come to Korea by myself and not really know. Besides after the first year, she was like, "What are you going to do in Korea?" I was just like, "I'll figure it out." She's like, "No, no, go do law. Like, come back, like, do law." I was just like, "No, I'll figure it out. Like, don't worry about it." It took her about a year and a half, 2 years to finally tell me she trusts me. Like, she's
mm,
comfortable. Like, she's content and she's happy that I am good. And I was just like, you raised me. You should know that I'm going to be good. Like, don't don't
yeah,
don't don't doubt it, you know? You raised a good daughter. Like your daughter has a good head on her shoulders, so it's okay. But that was her fear that I
yeah,
it or anything because she never did or she never took that faith that leap of faith. And so
yeah.
that was something. But yeah, I was just like, stay back over there.
Yeah. Cause look at me, I'm talking astrology. Your mom is a Taurus, right? What's her
Yes.
sign? Yeah, yeah. I had to remember. I was like, I know it was one of those strong energies that I felt. And Taurus is one of them. Okay, it's Capricorn, but it usually don't come from feminine like energy for me. It
Yeah.
usually, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember. Everybody leaves an impact differently. Listen, but I'm
Yeah.
here for it, okay? Because you need that
Yeah.
energy sometimes. But yeah, I definitely feel that, and I think that a lot of times when it comes to parents, like I know for myself, I couldn't understand. I thought my dad just wasn't supportive because it was really my dad who was just always didn't really support me leaving the military, didn't support me going to law school. It was just like all these things, and I'm like, bro, can I do anything without like? But eventually, like you said, years down the road when I was leaving, when I decided I didn't want to practice law anymore, after I tried for a year, don't ask me
Yeah.
nothing else. Um, he tried. I did it. I didn't just
You
try. I
did.
showed up. Okay. Um, he would when I called him to tell him, I was like, listen, I don't need the negativity, but this is what's up. When I tell you that man shocked the hell out of me by telling me, like, listen, you gave it a year, you tried it out, I'm proud of you. All you need to figure out is how you're gonna pay your rent. I got you on your food. Like that's exactly how he was. And it was just like so sweet, right? Coming from me used to all those years of him like everything I said wasn't good enough. Nothing I wanted to do was okay. He stopped talking to me for a whole year for going to college instead of going to the military. But
Wow.
that's what I mean by like I think there's something courageous about trusting yourself even when the people who love you that love you are just like they're scared for you because they know what life could be, how you could slip up and get it wrong, right? But like they don't know what's gonna happen, but it's that like you said, that fear, that projection, um, that
Absolutely.
comes through.
And it came
Yeah. And so for
very,
yeah. And you said for
yeah,
you that you like kind of take a break from them for a bit and you just had to like do your own thing.
I had to because, yeah, even my dad, he was just like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And then now, his sisters and brothers are just like, she is your mini me. There's one thing Rebecca gonna do. She's gonna make something work.
Right, right. Yo, and Mr. Chapman is an OG, okay? And so having him as a carrier along with your mom, I can imagine like
Yeah.
you got the tools you need. I'm sure you got all the tools you need for this world, okay? And anything else is already in you. And they have helped cultivate, I'm sure, some great things because Mr. Chapman is a
Mr.
G.
Chapman, Mr. Chapman.
That video, OMG, I
Yeah.
love it so much. That's my hobby. Okay, so let's see where we are. I'm like, now let me look at my things.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I kind of already asked you that. Like, what were some of the things that people were saying about you, like not pursuing law as opposed to like going to Korea? Like,
Yeah.
I guess for that, it seemed like for you, it was like there was no real plan. Not that you didn't have a plan, but you know what I mean. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it really, to them, it felt like I had no plan.
Mhm.
So that was the uncertainty that they were just like, what are you doing? You have everything certain here. Everything's already at your feet. Why are you leaving this to go to a foundation that hasn't even been laid yet? And so that was their biggest concern. My brother also, he was just like, what? You're doing what? That doesn't even make any sense. Rebecca, what the hell? And I was just like, you don't understand. Until you're in my shoes,
Yeah.
you went to law school until you did this, you won't understand. So stay over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I listen, I'm always impressed watching. There's several of us that I like watch that I'm just like, yeah, like the law thing was cute. We did our part, and it's also like you're gonna always have those tools and those skills. You know what I mean? That because I do believe it did give us that. Like there's tons of tools and skills that I feel like I utilize every day, especially asking questions, listening to questions, listening to words people choose to use, right? Like all these things and realizing that a lot of things is about who tells the best story. We don't really care about the truth.
Yes,
So
literally, literally.
yeah, and it's knowing like all those things.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the life you created in Korea.
Okay, it's amazing.
So yeah, like so what like I guess tell us like whatever you want to tell us that entails like or that makes up like the world you created for yourself because when you went there you didn't really know what to expect and it's
Yeah,
kind of been like building over the years.
it has been. Coming as well, like I didn't know what I was going to expect. So the uncertainty for myself was there as well. So I was just like, you know what? I will give it a year because I had that contract with the school. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens after. Coming back from the year was great. Met some like fabulous friends, still are friends to stay. We travel here and there. I go visit one of my best friends in Puerto Rico, and the other one's still here. And other two are still here. So, you know, we still have that connection. And so, as far as like the friends go, like that's just been growing every year. My family, they didn't realize that my presence in their life at this age would be such an impact because
Mm,
my aunts constantly tell me, please don't leave, please don't leave because if you leave, we feel as though like the family won't get together as much because I do surprise parties for them. And we'll have like surprise family dinners and something to always just bring us together because I
mm-hmm.
that in the States with my mom and my dad, my brothers and sister, it's like I had to do that here. So I'm like, you know, let's do something. Christmas was like a new thing for them too because like yes, people celebrate Christmas, but like, you know, it's more of an American holiday. Like,
Mm,
get the Rudolph, all the lights and everything like that. So I brought that back for them, and they're just like, oh my goodness, like, please don't leave.
mm,
It's like the little things and little,
yeah.
just like popping up or showing up at my aunt's job. One is a manager, and the other one she owns a restaurant. So like popping up and like having pizza in my hand because one likes pizza, the other one likes certain Korean food, and they're just like, if you're not here, like we don't get this, like we don't get this, and it's been love on that aspect too, just like constant growth in that area as
Mm,
well, and then with that, then being able to create my own schedule, the flexibility that it came with. Because right now I feel like I'm in prison. I'm not in prison, but it just feels like I'm detained because I can't travel freely as I would love to before.
oh, we gonna come back to that because you have
Yeah,
like a is it what you a 9 to 5 right?
it's a nine. Yeah, it's basically, yes,
You
it
know what I
is.
mean? So when I
Yeah,
talk about 9 to 5, I'm talking about any structured schedule. I don't give a crap if it's 11 to 7. It's all the same to me. You want me
it.
somewhere at a certain time, and I get to leave at a certain
Yeah, and yeah, it's not that
time.
great.
Okay. Okay.
So, so having been my own boss for so long and then going into this mode of okay, I'm working under someone, I
Mm-hmm.
don't it. It's not for
Okay.
Rebecca. It's not for me. It doesn't, the peace and the flow, the ease that I provide for myself is not there because
Right. Mm-hmm.
I have to answer to someone. I have to show up at a certain time. I have to leave at a certain time. I was like, this does not work for me. I don't know how people do it. I can't.
Mm.
I can't wait until February 28th, 2023. I have my dates already locked in. I already know, and I can't wait because after that, I'm no schedule set. No.
Wait,
Mm-mm.
so that is official. You know, I love. Of course, so I always talk about human design every time I get on this freaking line. So I'm like, I'm dying to know your human design, but I'll talk about that later. Um, but wait, so you're officially decided you're just not into the whole 9 to 5 right now in your life. Like, it's not vibing.
Yeah, no, I'm going back to just full time with my clients. That's it.
You
That's
tried
it.
it though. How did you
I,
end up at the school though this year?
so there is a little sister of mine who works at this school. They needed
Okay.
a person to fill a contract that was being terminated. And so I ended up being the one that they hired for that position. Hence why I am.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective though, because I feel like if you know, because it might sound big, but it's true though, because I felt that way in a lot of different jobs, and that's how I always knew I wasn't. I knew since I
Mm,
was a child I didn't want to work a 9 to 5. I knew that. I knew it in my soul, but I
mm,
didn't know how else I could take care of myself, right? Like, and that was like my whole thing is like, so what's the other plan? And because I didn't really see anything else around me, I just knew I had to just keep getting jobs to pay my bill, and I was gonna figure it out along the way. But this, I knew I just didn't. And then I started settling, like, all right, at least make it remote. Like, come on, Spirit, at least give me a remote position. And then COVID
yes.
happened, and life changed since then. So,
Yeah.
but
So
yes,
it's not for
uh,
me.
yeah, and I feel like that's also a part of your new beginning, right? You're planting new seeds, and I think recognizing, coming to an awareness that like this isn't for me.
Hmm.
I do love and enjoy what my business provides me because it provides you that flexibility. It provides you the opportunity to go at your own pace, to slow
Yes.
down, to take life in a way that's digestible for you and not at other people's pace.
Hmm.
Uh, and that
Absolutely.
sounds beautiful.
It's peaceful. That's what,
And that's what I can imagine.
yeah, it is. And so that's why I'm like, you know what, February 28th, it comes, and then I'm going to work for just like a month in regards to my clients. And then your girl is traveling. She's out.
I love it.
She's
But I love
out.
how we got a plan now, though. We got a plan now, though. We probably haven't planned before. We got a plan now, though.
Yes. Yeah. This has been in the works though, because I was just like, I give myself something to look forward to each month, because that way
Mm.
it makes time somewhat manageable in the sense. And I was like, okay, September, my birthday. October, I have several birthdays. November, I'm just like, I don't know what's in November, but I have to figure something out in
You'll
November.
figure something out. Yep.
I have a trip in December. January, I figured something out in January. In February, it's the end of the contract. I am no more. That's it.
Yeah.
I have been
Yeah.
off day at the job already. I've been asked twice, and I have declined twice.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so exciting though. First of all, you're in demand. Hello. And then it's also like, but nah. But this is the
It's,
thing. You don't have to say yes to every invitation that you receive.
yeah, and that's also another thing that I am stepping into in terms of the season of me saying no more, because I feel like I say yes to a lot of things without considering like how I'm feeling. Like I
Mm,
that like everyone around me is good, but I'm just like I can't do that anymore.
yeah. So interesting. Do you know why you used to say yes all the time, even when like it probably wasn't serving your best?
Mm-mm. Because I would say no, but I just want to say more. I just want to say no more.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, nope, I want to take a nap. Nope, I want to do this. Nope.
Oh, heard. Yeah. But that goes back to what you were saying earlier too about just the fact that like your schedule's fully booked, but like where's the time for me actually? Like
Hmm.
if I'm going from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, like when am I actually nourishing myself?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And so like I'm thankful that I have subway rides to get me to my clients, and I have like a certain like somewhat of a break. So I'm able to listen to lo-fi beats because that's what's soothing to me.
Mm,
Sometimes I'll find myself listening to gospel music. I'll find myself just needing some type of energy. So I'm playing Bad Bunny beat. Like I need some rhythm, you know? And so, or I'm listening to audibles, like audiobooks
mm,
and on the go or podcasts of some sort. And, but that's the me time. I'm like, no, there has to be other avenues of me.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And have you figured that part out yet? Like what that might look like for you?
Do once a month facials, which I am very thankful for, but I need more. I need more than just
Yeah. Yeah.
facial. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Mm. You know, that's one thing I will say. I always like I'm always curious about self-care, like what it means for people, right? And what it looks like
Yeah.
for people, cuz my idea of self-care is just every day all day, right? Like everything is self-care. How I'm answering you, you know, what I'm deciding to say yes to is self-care.
Yes.
Everything to me is a part of my self-care because it's a part of like how I'm taking care of myself, how I'm checking in on my energy, how I'm making sure that this aligns with me, or I even have the capacity. Um, yeah, because I don't want to. Yeah, I think about all the burnouts I've been through. Right, talking about like how you was going, where you finally was like, I'm tired, and I don't want law. I don't want the United States. I don't want Cali. Like, I want the hell out for a minute. I need a pause.
Yeah.
Um, but even thinking about that, have you felt like you've taken a pause? You know, like one of those pause to like really take like a break where you're not planning for the next thing. You're not. No, I mean,
No. Now that I'm like really thinking about,
mm,
mm-mm, no,
maybe
because
2023. I'll bring it up again in like February.
2023, I think it's something then, but no, I really haven't thought about it because when you work, and then when the pandemic went into lockdown, we went into lockdown what,
What?
December
Oh,
2019
yeah.
here in Korea. It was like
Right.
really,
That's what I had to think about. Like, wait, that's not a
yeah,
me question.
started like COVID started around December 2019. Korea didn't go
Hmm.
into full lockdown until I almost got stuck in Japan. That was my last trip I took in Japan, February 2020. And
Okay.
we there they were like shutting flights going
Hmm.
into, if I had got stuck in Japan, Japan would have taken everything from me. Like and so blessed, so thankful that I was able to make it to Korea. And then after that, no flights were leaving. We're just in lockdown. And then you had to deal with just society, the xenophobia here in Korea as well, where because media portrayed coronavirus as, you know, because of Trump, the Kung flu, and foreigners having X, Y, and Z. And so that was also like a bad time and looked bad because even though I am Korean, oftentimes I'm perceived as just a foreigner because once you see me as a Black woman, and that's it. And they won't know that I'm Korean until I'm having a conversation with them. But it sucks that it even has to go to that,
Yeah.
Korean. And so even to this day, I'm 33. I lived here for 6 years. I'm still not fully accepted because that's
Mm.
just society. And I never took a pause, even with the pandemic. My life, like everything in terms of meeting my clients in person, we switched everything to online. So there wasn't really a break. So I just was constantly working through that as well because I had to find a way. My bills still needed to be paid,
Mm.
rent,
Yeah.
everything. So there wasn't really a moment to, there was none of that. But it will
Yeah.
be. I'll tell you that. There will
But
be.
that's what happened. Yeah, after COVID, I think I took like 2 3 months off, and I was just
Yeah.
like, cause it was just I think it because I finished school in May. That's what I mean. So like after we had came out of quarantine, school ended, going back to like hella racial issues at NYU. That's a whole other topic, whole other trauma
Mm-hmm.
experience. But like you saying, like so much stuff was just coming up, and like we just had to keep going. But it was just so like much heaviness, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even. I feel like I haven't even thought about like what your experience is like in Korea, right? Because I'm like, oh, you speak the language, like you naive, okay? Because I'm like, people are different in different cultures. Maybe they're nicer, you know, like because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like or kinder, yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, so that's interesting.
Another topic for another day.
Yeah, 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 but definitely interesting nonetheless.
The whole racial, and then you also have to think about like during this time, not only was we're still dealing with injustices with Black people, then we're now adding on my other side the injustices that Asian Americans were facing. Kids, 2 year old, a 6 year old being stabbed, people being hurt on the subway trains in New York,
Yeah,
grandparents being kicked, beat up in California, just around the world, the the women being shot in Atlanta at the nail salon or the salon, then the church in, I believe, was in New York. There was a church with black women, black people,
yeah.
elderly,
I don't remember where it was. I don't think it was. I don't know. Let me not get to lying because I don't
right?
know.
Somewhere, but it was just like all of that happening, and then we're still in pandemic, like on
Yeah,
top of like there wasn't really any time to truly mourn or truly
mm-hmm.
just process everything that's been happening. But even still, like it's still been happening prior to all of this, but now
Yeah,
everything's highlighted more, is heightened more. Yeah, it's tough. It was tough.
yeah. I feel like we knew these things, but this was different. This was a way different experience. Like I said that so many times. I'm like every thing I've ever done as far as like career wise have been spaces that are dominated by white bodies, right? Like I come from a culture of the military, law, like all right. And then I got social work school, right? And we are not know right, but if you know anything about social work school, you already know who those books are usually written by and who they're written towards, which is so interesting to me. But nonetheless, all that was happening, and I think that with everything that was happening in the world, it highlighted it even louder. Where I
Yeah,
couldn't ignore it, I couldn't just put my head down, I couldn't just act like it wasn't happening. I couldn't ignore what people were saying and the tone they were saying it and what they were saying. Like I was like hyper aware in
yeah,
a way that I had never been. Um,
yes,
but this is
yeah,
life.
yeah, and never had to. I've always feared, for my dad, my brother, my
Mm,
nephew being Black men. But then on top of that, then I had to fear for my mom. And I'm just like, there's no peace. There's no
mm,
moment pause for me, even with just my emotions, my mental. Constantly checking my phone to make sure that it wasn't her or them as a headline. And I'm all the way here in Korea. I can't really do much, you know.
right.
Also another thing, like when everything was happening in the States, it would be dark, so I'd be asleep here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would go to sleep because I'm just like, oh my goodness, because of the protests, because
Mm,
of just everything that's happening. There was no rest.
yeah.
Absolutely not. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Oh my gosh.
It
Because
was, yeah, very, very heavy. And oftentimes, a lot of people, like, I remember there was a falling out that I had with someone because I was speaking so much about the Asian Americans being treated and the hate that they received. And she had said, you should keep the same energy for the Black people too. And I said, you must
okay.
think then. Because one thing I'm gonna speak for not only my Black side, but I'm also going to speak for my Asian side too. And so it was just one of those things where I was just like, people will say anything right now. And just people will say,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
It was definitely an interesting season. I think for all of us. Well,
I think,
clearly.
yes.
And it's just yes, Becca.
Thanks,
I'm trying
girly.
to see how. Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to see how to say the
I
name.
love
I was like,
Ari.
just Susan. Oh, just Susan Admire. Is
Mm-hmm.
that how it's said? Okay,
Yes.
that's how they said. Okay. I was like, I know that's the screen name. Okay. Well, yes. So all right. So I know that a lot. We would definitely talk about something heavy, and now I'm about to be like, y'all, listen. If we could talk about Becca's whole life, we'll all be here forever. And we can't, we all got things to do. But do you have like some? Do you feel like there were some highlighted lessons you've learned throughout this experience? And I feel like you kind of hinted to it during the second email where we were talking about like the season of you
Mm.
regarding I read it as self trust, right? Like I could easily label something like, all right, that sounds like self trust, where it's like you just honoring what you want to do and kind of rolling with it. So you're there now, and that's like what you're doing. So are there any lessons like you learned throughout this experience that you're like,
In this
I
experience, like
realized this and boom.
talking about a
Oh,
time
so
or
within the last 6 years, probably like
okay,
yeah, since your move.
your label is absolutely spot on.
Mm,
That's with not only just within myself, but that's also the finding of friends. And I don't use friends that often.
right.
That term is thrown around so loosely that is not a friend to me. No, everyone is not, and I don't consider everyone to be a friend. Um, and I realize that, like, even with new people that I meet, I'm not very surface. I'm not a surface type of person.
Yeah.
I want more about you. I tell me your life story, or I'll ask a question where we just end up delving deeper. And that's what I appreciate. And I appreciate the vulnerability. And so my lesson that I've also learned is that I need depth. I'm a depth type.
Mm,
I I don't want them. I want to sink, but I don't want to drown. If that makes sense, I want to
mm,
go. I want to dive deep. That's why I love being in the ocean, being a free diver. Doing all those things and just going into the ocean, holding your breath for one breath, and just swimming for a minute or longer, and everything like that. Like that is what I require in not only my friendships but my family as well. And
mm.
there was just like my friend had sent it to me, Brittany had sent it to me, and she was just like, "This is you." It was just where it said, it's like the usher. Watch this, the
Yeah.
late. It's that one where it said, family who treats you like, who just gives you just like all that negative energy. It's just like you won't block them out. You won't block them away from you, like friends
Right. And
too.
then you'd be like, watch this.
This, watch this. And I reposted and I said, if you guys do not know, this is where I am right now.
Mm,
I require peace above all else. And I know one of the questions that you will ask or is, what do you value?
mm,
Peace and ease is what I'm valuing more so than anything. A sense of security with all of that too. Like that's where I'm at.
mm. What is it? What would be a sense of security? Like, what do
Um,
you consider that?
Friends who hold space for me.
Mm,
That's security. The materialistic things, I can't take that with me when I'm dead. So that's nothing that I'm requiring. But if I'm able to speak my truth and have someone like you listen to me, that's security. That is,
mm,
I appreciate that, because not only are you giving me your time, which is something you can't get back, but you're also just giving me your ear. And that is something that money can't buy.
yeah.
And like, you see Gemini, that's my best friend, Jonathan. He's
Hey,
getting
hey,
married.
hey, hey, Jonathan.
And I'm so excited for his wedding. And we've been best friends for so many years, and we've just been across the world. And we finally get to bridge that gap for his wedding. But it's, even with all the time and space in between us, whenever
Mm,
he and I need him, we're always there. And that's an unbreakable bond. That's like priceless. You can't get that. So you can't buy that. And people out here are, some people are lonely and alone, and there may be moments of loneliness.
mm-hmm.
If you have your tribe, you're never really lonely. And that's my security. Like the love that I receive from them, the light that they
Mm,
shine on my path, that's my security, because I know that there's always going to be someone around my, like, that always have my six.
Mm.
And you know that term. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And I also love this idea. So that's something I've been saying a lot lately, is just reminding us, like, yes, I get that we don't need specific people, but yes, we need people. Like, we need community. That is part of our remembrance, right? Which is the same thing as what people will call your healing journey. I feel like part of that is also learning how to be your authentic self within community, right? Like, we are a social species. We are here to connect with each other, and like, my hope and my dream is that one day we all feel safe enough to be our most authentic selves, right? As crazy as it may look sometimes, or as messy or as cringeworthy it is, like, I think that is necessary because we're different for a reason. And why
Hmm.
not be able to express that freely,
Yes.
and figure that out?
Hmm. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Because
100%.
I even think about like us in law school, right? Like, I probably was allowed, me and Venetia would have like the biggest personalities out of the group, but like, you were pretty quiet. You were like really like, you know what? You're more of an observer. I would call you an observer. That's the kind of person, the energy I got from you. Like, Becca was always an observer, and I'm like, but she don't talk. But it's like you said, right? Like, you don't really do surface level. So like, every conversation ain't an invitation for you. Like, you're like, I don't need that part. Like,
Yeah, and you see
and
me walk away real quick too. I'm like, all right, bye.
yeah. But I think that like, I have like a younger sister who's an Aquarius, and I tell her all the time, like, sometimes I'm just so grateful for the people I've got to witness in this life, because all of you have shown me a way to be, right? It's not who I am, right? Like, I'm not really a chilled, quiet person. I'm chilled. I'm probably not as, I can be very extroverted, but I'm actually an introvert, which is so interesting. People may not believe it, but it is true. I actually did not get energy from people. They
Hmm.
actually drain the hell out of me. It's like, it's something else. Like, even I was telling my friend about this call. I was like, girl, if I survive this conversation, meaning that if I can get off the live and then go to and still have a conversation after, then kudos. But usually I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I get it.
So I can have a lot of energy when I'm around y'all, but then I'm gonna go home and be drained. So, but that's what's interesting, right? Because people will perceive it as one way, but it's not like that at all. But I guess they also call it an ambivert or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be it too, but definitely just not an answer. That's not true. I would not
Yeah.
agree to that. I'm like, it may look that way, but that's not what's happening, babe. I
Gotcha.
promise.
Yeah.
But,
Hmm.
and I also had to learn that too on my journey, right? Because I had been conditioned to be that way, right? Because people got used to me being that way. And so I stayed that way. But then I realized I was exhausted, and I was like, wait, let me pause. And so I've
Yeah.
taken a lot of pauses in this life to figure out, like, okay, this is not for me anymore, or this label doesn't resonate with me anymore, or this idea of who I say I am doesn't resonate anymore, and I need to let it go, and I want to let it go.
Yeah.
So it's been a real interesting journey.
Hmm. Yeah. That
Yeah.
shedding is very real. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you realize like the energies that just like comes around you, if it's not good, you feel it. And I
Yeah.
listen. So that goes back to that label of self-trust. I listen. If the energy feels off, even if it's a group setting, if it feels off with one person, I can't stay by them.
Mm-hmm.
I I have to go somewhere else. I will literally dance my way out of whatever corner, like setting I'm in. You will find me at home. I am. I,
You've been and looked around like, what happened? Girl, you know she
yeah.
left.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I
Do
used
you
to,
remember that one night the four of us went out? You, the Liz and I, we went out. We went downtown San Diego or something like that, and we had went to this. I forget where it was. You were wearing your hair was in the fro. You had glasses on. You had the circle glasses, I believe. You were in something blue, royal blue, and
I
we're
feel like
going
I
out.
see the pictures. Did you have on white pants?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. Yeah,
That's, I was like,
that night.
I feel like I see the picture. We took a picture in front of
Yeah,
that wall, and we
was it the
wrote
wall
on the
or
wall.
the
I
couch?
remember, but
Was it
we
the wall?
wrote on a wall too. I feel
Oh
like.
yes, if I something, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, if
But
I
yes,
were
there
dead.
was a couch at the place.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
so that night there was like these women that was like coming towards us, which was great, right? Which is great. Hi, Uncle. Yeah, we can do that later. Yeah. Okay. um, and there was like a lot of there was like women around, and I was just like, oh, it's too much energy. It's too much. It's a lot. So I just like backed away. I was just like sat on the couch and I was quiet. And you were entertaining them. And you were. I was like enjoying just observing, like you said,
Yeah.
because I'm an observer. I see what's happening, and then I'm just like, okay, I can do that. I can't do that. No, it's
Right,
not for me.
right, right. But that's
Yeah.
lit though, to be an observer and then decide like I'm willing to be a part of that, but not that, right? But like that's how you don't end up in just some random ass shit. Because
Absolutely.
you're mindful of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
People like
Very.
me. Be back then, like just be going with the flow, want to be a part. I was like a party in a person, and like my friends back here in New York used to say that all the time, and like now I like you speak of a club, and I'm like, right, but I'm happy I got all that out my system. I'm happy I did all those things. I have great stories. Energy for it now, probably not, but it was worth it at the time.
Yeah. Same. I'm the same way. Same way. All sober as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
I have
OMG.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and on top of that, you used to be really into working out.
Yeah, still am.
You were
I took
like a trainer too, like low key. I don't know if you was officially training, but I know you were training. Like when people would ask, you would like tell us stuff.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
guiding Benicia.
We had fun in the gym. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and our pole dancing class.
Yeah, we still have the pictures from that day.
Okay. I'm like now I'm thinking about all the things. Like, oh yeah, what a time.
Um,
Yes.
mhm.
So, is there other things you want to share with us? Anything that I missed that I didn't talk about?
No, I think you hit everything.
I think we
Honestly,
floating.
I'm just thankful to have this catch up moment with you. It's been so long.
Thank
It's
you.
way
Yeah,
long.
and I'm so right. And you know what? I was thinking the other day. I was like, thank you. We was lit. We was lit.
And our time
And
in Mexico.
oh, yo, our Tijuana trip, our what was it? We called it a law school senior trip or
Yeah,
something like that.
trip. I mean, China was lit. Nice
Yes,
lit. I mean, we did
we did that.
that.
We
Yeah.
did that. We did handle life. We did it.
Hmm.
We did,
Remember?
and then like, I used to travel all the time after, and then like
Yeah.
COVID happened, and like I feel like I'm still trying to get my bearings about what I want to be this month, what I want to be next month, how I want to travel. I don't even know no more.
I respect that. I respect that. And I've been on this whole philosophy of just taking one day at a time.
Mm,
I people ask me like, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And I'm like, I have like weekends blocked out because I know it's like someone's birthday or something like that. And I'm just like, "Okay, this weekend's booked. This weekend's booked." Like, but after that though, it's just like I still have to take one day at a time to get to that weekend.
yeah,
Because when that weekend comes, I'm going to be like, "No, I can't do this."
right. So that's me too. So I be trying to get past Charlie, not to make decisions for future Charlie or current Charlie, not to make decisions for future Charlie. Sometimes it happens quicker than I expect, but I
Hmm.
will cancel though. So
There was a meme the other day that I saw. It was like a few days ago. It said, if we don't talk on the day that we have plans, our plans are canceled.
oh yeah,
I,
yeah.
I felt that to my soul and core. And I was like, that is absolutely true.
Yeah. But I will say that about you though. I feel like you are good at community building and bringing people together. And when you say you're going to show up, you usually will show up.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I can definitely say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was always your energy. Yeah, you
Hmm.
were a unique bunch. We was all a unique bunch. That
We
whole
were.
crew, everybody had a different energy.
We meshed well together. We
Yeah, because it was a
we
good heart. It was a harmony with the energy because everybody was just, but also everybody wanted to do their own thing. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted their freedom and was in their freedom and had other friends and had a life and was all over. So
I really appreciated like how we all had our own individual life, but when we came together as a collective, it was harmony. It was beautiful. It
yeah,
was
yeah,
great. And I remember when
yeah.
whole class. Izzy sent us a picture when he was in Thailand. Remember with his picture?
Oh yeah. Yo.
He didn't want to miss out on the fun and everything like that.
So
And
he
I mean,
like he what do you call it? Crop yourself in.
yes. Yeah. And I'm just like, this is great. And then even still to this day, like we're able to just still be there for each other. Like I saw
Mm-hmm.
Izzy in December when I was back home, and I
Yeah.
was just, love it. Like I can't wait to see you again. And I'm just like, when is this gonna happen?
I
So
know it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I know I bullshit when it comes. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna come to Korea, and then I never went, and I'm like, Charlie, like, I don't know. We gonna work on it though because I want to go to Japan, and I feel like that I can do everything. So we
yeah,
gonna figure that out. We gonna figure that out.
Japan
We gonna,
order, and then we
huh?
can talk.
That what?
Japan needs to open its borders, and then we can talk about that.
Oh, see, this is the thing, right? So I ain't gonna say it on live, but I was gonna tell you how I usually just don't know what's going on in the world at all
Yeah,
because they.
I kind of figured that's where you were going, so I was.
Yeah, we already know how Charlie rolls, so.
It's okay. I give you your
Yeah.
flowers for living in your truth. There you go.
I mean, it has yet to stray me the wrong way. I feel like
Yeah.
what I need to know, I do know. But that might not be true. That's just something I probably tell myself to feel better. So we don't know, and I'm okay with that too.
Hey, if you're okay
um,
with that's it.
yes. Okay. So before we go, ooh, are you excited for your day off though? Because you got a day off,
I
and thank you.
not have a day off. I actually have a few of my clients later. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, so first of all, thank you for spending time with us. That you starting your morning with us. And I got one more question. Then I'm gonna let you go because whatever time you do have free, listen, I'm always
Spend
gonna support a nap. I'm always gonna support some self care. I'm always gonna support time alone. I'm always gonna support whatever makes you happy. So,
yes.
and I'm sure this is great, but also just relaxing is great too. Okay, one more question. If you could tell some past version of you anything, what would you say?
What would I say to my past version of me? Honestly, a part of me had thought about this question, and I would have loved to tell myself, don't go to law school.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I would have told myself not to go to law school because as I continue to delve deeper into that reasoning, it's going towards not being a fulfilling dream of mine, but whereas my parents and my dream constantly, even to today, is like always helping people, and that's what I do. I'm able
Mm-hmm.
to give back to those that are learning English as a second language because that was my life. That's my story. You know,
Yeah.
Korean being my first language, going to America, learning, not speaking English until about the second grade, fourth grade. Like it was late in the game. Like I had Korean teachers up until fourth grade because I was just that adamant of not learning English.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically ripped from what I knew. And so just like that shock of in itself, that's trauma as well. My therapist and I, we talk about
Right.
that's a whole other thing. But if I could, I would tell her, don't go to law school. Do
Mm.
something else in terms of maybe traveling and helping, like or helping
Ooh.
a lot more, both like but on an international spectrum, not just only in Korea, which is also another thing that's a project that I'm working on. So sure. But yeah, so
Yeah.
bring that back to America somehow, some way. But that still gives me the affordability and freedom to work for myself, not
Mm-hmm.
working else. Yeah.
Yeah, first of
That's
all, I'm really happy for you that now you know though, right? Because now
yeah.
you can focus your energy on your business, your projects, and the things that continue to light you up. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to you want to be free, and it's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. And I think that the times we're in with technology and all these other things, we are moving to a space where there's a lot more possibilities. Whether or not we feel confident enough to go after them or curious enough, it's another conversation. But you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to say yes to things that drain you, and you don't have to say when you're like, this doesn't feel good. This feels like a prison. This feels like boundaries that I
Yeah.
don't want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm happy for you. and I'm so excited for what's next. You know, listen, anytime somebody tell me something is ending, I get excited because I know that something greater is coming.
Yeah.
And I believe that, I trust that, I lean into that every single time. So
Thank you for this. I loved it. Thank you for your
thank
time,
you.
energy.
I'm so happy.
So blessed to have you literally as not only my friend but my sister for
Yes,
so many years.
yes. Soul Sisters for real. Yes.
Thank you so much. I love
Yes,
you.
y'all. I love you. And Becca was also, it was Becca, Liz, and I. She also moved me across back from Cali to the East Coast. They were my driving partners to move me back East Coast. I sold everything, drove to Cali, picked them up, and we drove me to the East Coast. And we got to stop so many places. We had a time, girl. We had a time. Okay.
We went all the way from LA to New York.
Yes.
We did that.
Yes, and we got to visit people along the way. It was so cute.
Yeah, we
Oh,
saw
my
Brittany.
t-shirt. I'm smiling so much.
Saw Brittany. We
Mm.
Crystal, right? In Texas?
Oh yeah, love it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes I know people by their last name because of the
I
military. I'm
know.
like, yeah, her first name is Crystal, but it's love it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We went to Arizona. It was freezing.
Yeah,
The Grand
but it was cute though.
Canyon.
Because I had never been there.
You had your poncho.
I still got those pictures. I had my camera out. Like, girl, you are not no photographer, but I'm happy you had that experience.
It was
Oh
it was a
my god.
it was great.
Yeah.
It was
And that's
fabulous.
and that's what I love too. Is like I get to be myself around all y'all, and it's always been like that. Like no matter how messy, no matter how cringy I was, like I was always loved on, and I give thanks for that, and I give thanks also for being called out. I know me as used to stay being like no, I was like okay, because you need that. You know what I mean? You need
Yeah.
those people that love you enough to be like not calling you out in front of everybody, but love you enough to be
Yeah.
like yo, all right,
You,
though. I think you
yeah.
all
We
right,
need
handle that.
yes. I appreciate that too. I'm very thankful that I have my tribe that I'm able to do that with, receive
Mm-hmm.
it as well. And I'm just like, all right, let
Yeah.
me go stand in the corner right quick and let me go check myself right quick and then like I'll come back.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
right,
You
because
need
we are having a human experience, right? And you need that too, because sometimes it's just like, who knows what's going on energetically that got you reacting or responding the way you are. But at the
right.
same time, like, we're learning.
We are. And we're growing and we're still becoming
Yes, yes.
more of the woman that we're becoming. And that's just it. That's
And I love it. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for spending time with us today, for sharing all this. I got to catch up with you. I'm gonna slide in your DMs though because I do wanna ask about your human design chart. It's very similar to astrology, but we'll talk about that later. But yes, I'm curious. So I'm gonna let you go and enjoy your day. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day on purpose, that you choose how you want your day to go, and that you make choices that's in alignment with that. So,
Love you.
love you. Thank you all. And I'll see you all next weekend on
Yeah.
Sunday for True Talks with Charlie at 11 a.m. Eastern. Nope, that's not true. I'll tell y'all. I almost gave time. I'm trying to look at my calendar, but it's not happening. Okay.
Bye, Queen.
Bye. I love you.
Love you. Ah.